Good morning. Did you know that in the history of the US, there have been 5 presidents that won the electoral vote but lost the popular vote when running for president, according to Time magazine? And in recent history, 2 out of our 3 last presidents, being George W. Bush and Donald Trump, both lost the popular vote. This fact in itself is crazy because we would have had 5 different presidents across the span of America, and modern today might have looked very different than it is now. Now, while the Electoral College was established for reasonable means back in 1787, today the system is outdated and it needs to be changed with the popular vote system. The belief I want to establish is that the Electoral College is morally wrong and outdated for the present day US. Now, back in 1787, one of the main reasons that the Electoral College was established was because of slavery. During this time, slavery was illegal, and there was something called the 3/5 Compromise down in the South, meaning that for every 5 slaves, 3 of them counted as a person for an electoral vote, meaning that if the South put in place an electoral college system, they would receive more electors and be able to pass more legislature in the government. However, if they were in a popular vote system, slaves were not free people and could not vote themselves, meaning that they would lose a popular vote system. This was according to New York Times magazine. Therefore, the Founding Fathers compromised with the South and declared that the Electoral College would be overall over the popular vote, meaning that the South, now because they have the slaves, could win more votes in Congress. Because the Electoral College was established on these corrupt means, it puts a sin of a stain back on our country of how we established our president electing system based on treating people as property, making this a very immoral system. Now, even though that today we don't have slavery anymore, it is still injustice to the American people. Out of our 50 states, 48 of the states will receive any of their electoral votes and give them directly to the candidate who won the most, even if they won by a small margin or a big margin. And this was according to USA Today. What happens is because if we give all of our electoral votes to one candidate, we are overlooking the minorities and the people who just gave their individual vote. How can we as a country say that every vote counts and that your voice matters as if we hand over all of our electoral votes to one candidate, even if they won by a very small percentage? Because of this, it gives an injustice back to the American people and is not fair towards our society today. Now, additionally, in our last election, Donald Trump lost the popular vote by 2.9 million votes to Hillary Clinton. Because of such drastic numbers in the popular vote, there are many Americans that agree that we need to get rid of the Electoral College system. According to a recent study done by the Pew Research Center in January of 2020, 59% of voting-age Americans believe that we need to replace the Electoral College with a popular vote system, while 40% disagreed. This 58% is a drastic number when considering any political decision, and even many Democrats and Republicans both believe in this, which is surprising because they rarely agree. Because so many Americans feel that we need to abolish the Electoral College, let's finally listen to our people and get rid of this injustice on our society. Now, while there are now many Americans that believe that we should get rid of the Electoral College, there are many who agree that it is a staple of the U.S. economy, and since the Founding Fathers put it in our Constitution, it needs to remain. However, this is an outdated thought on America. Just because a law was put into place in 1700s does not mean that it is great for modern America. Right now, we are in 2020 and we cannot keep this stain of America brought on ourselves. Even back in the 1900s, people have fought to try to remove the Electoral College. Actually, in fact, in 1968, a law was passed through the House of Representatives to replace the Electoral College with the popular vote system. However, this was shot down by many people in the Senate, only because they had disagreeing opinions. Now, if people even wanted to abolish the Electoral College back in 1968, shouldn't we listen to the ancestors of our past and strive to improve what the people in the 60s could not, according to CNN? Therefore, we need to ignore the past of our Constitution and look for the moral injustice that the Electoral College has put on our country. Now, even though the Electoral College has been a root of America now, we need to think about the future of our country. Now that it is 2020, we need to make sure that we induct positive changes on our country. And one of them would be agreeing that the Electoral College is a moral injustice and it puts a stain back on our country. It is not fair to our voting people to leave out minorities and people that have put in their own personal vote. Therefore, we need to, as 2020 and as citizens who are going to be voting in a few years, we need to understand that the Electoral College is a negative impact on the U.S. Thank you.